Welcome, listeners, to the Functional Edge podcast. I'm your host, Emily Throckmorton. In today's episode, we are going to discuss how sleep impacts your performance, your endurance, and your long-term health. This past week, I have been using the Whoop. The Whoop is a wearable tracker that looks at your recovery, your strain, your sleep, your heart rate variability, and so much more. It's been eye-opening to look at my sleep and what having a baby has done to it. Now understand that when you have a child, it is pure survival mode. And I also co-sleep with my 10-month-old, which makes my sleep very light. The Whoop has been really cool to watch my sleep in real time and what I can do differently to improve it. And so far, the data has shown me that I should be going to sleep a little bit earlier. Sleep is essential for every aspect of physical, mental, and emotional health. When I'm sleep deprived, I can feel it in all of those aspects. You're going to be feeling worn out, tired of course, lacking productivity and relying on caffeine throughout the day, irritability, whether that's at work, in your family, or at home when it's just you trying to relax, you find yourself still very irritable and anxious and stressed. I've also noticed that there will be mental blocks, and it would make me feel very weak when I would go to do a workout. During sleep, our body produces growth hormones, which aids in muscle repair, muscle growth, and recovery. So without it, I'm unable to get all of those important things. This is even more critical if you're recovering from an acute injury or a long-term injury. I work with adaptive athletes that have spinal cord injuries. They have TBIs, PTSD, they've had strokes. These are long-term injuries, and I preach to them on a daily basis how important it is to make sure that they are getting adequate sleep so that they can recover their bodies from these very, very traumatic injuries. The same thing goes if you have a sprained ankle or if you have some sort of tweak. These are all acute injuries, and they are going to heal the fastest the more sleep that you get, the more protein that you get. That is how our body recovers. When we sleep, we are strengthening our immune system, and this is going to help us fight off infections and fight inflammation. Sleep also helps the brain clear out toxins and waste products that have been accumulating throughout the day. They have shown that without sleep too, you are more likely to get an early onset of Alzheimer's because your brain is unable to clear out these toxins and waste products. Now, the goal is going to be a little bit different for everyone, but ideally we want to be shooting for about 7 to 9 hours of sleep each night. And the same thing goes for me. If you have to get up early for work, fitness, your family, then the answer is you go to bed earlier. You look to find that habit of going to sleep at the exact same time every single night. That way you can wake up at the same time every morning. So when I try to get up at 3:30 a.m., it means that I need to be asleep by 7-ish. Now, factors like caffeine, sleep interruptions, like having a baby, or stress can negatively affect this time frame. We highly recommend that each of you try to consume your caffeine before noon. Anything after that is going to disrupt your sleep. The goal is to simply do the best we can with whatever phase of life you are in, whether that's family, work, relationships, you name it. But in order to regulate your stress hormones and your leptin, okay, you need to focus on optimal hours of sleep, which is ideally 7 to 9 hours. So your stress hormones, they are going to be what we call cortisol, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard before. Cortisol is a steroid hormone that your adrenal glands, the endocrine glands on top of your kidneys produce and release. Okay, so that's where you're going to get your adrenaline rush from. Cortisol affects several aspects of your body and mainly helps regulate your body's response to stress. Too much of it is an issue. Cortisol can also affect nearly every organ system in your body, including your nervous system, immune system, your cardiovascular system, respiratory system, reproductive systems, your musculoskeletal system, and then also your skin, hair, nails, glands, and nerves. So when we have that stress, It affects every part of our bodies. Your chronic sleep issue, such as obstructive sleep apnea, insomnia, or working a night shift, are also associated with higher cortisol levels. Cortisol is an essential hormone that impacts several aspects of your body. And while there are several things you can do to try to limit your stress, one of the most important things you can do is to exercise regularly. My goal is to get adequate sleep moving forward, and I challenge each of you to try to put your sleep first. And the best way you can put your sleep first is to focus on sleep hygiene. I challenge you to find a consistent sleep time every single night. Then you can make the room comfortable. We recommend about 67 degrees to make it nice and cold. A dark room is essential. If you do not have a way to make your room completely dark, we recommend getting an eye mask to make it completely dark. Avoid stimulants before bed. So this is watching TV, looking at your phone until you fall asleep. If you are looking at those things, try to be aware of this and wear some blue light glasses. It's also a good idea to try maybe a chili pad or a sleep aid, and these are mattress covers that can be set to a certain temperature so that you're not getting too hot or cold at night. But just understand that these are just some small changes that you can try to add to your daily routine in order to live a healthier, longer life. In my opinion, getting your stress and your sleep under control should be number one priority. So that way you can give back to your work, your family, your fitness. And without that sleep, your fitness, your performance is going to take a little bit of a plunge. There's so much information on sleep and how we can improve it. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them in the comment section below and share with your friends and family. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we are going to talk to you next time.